we are introduced to Princess. Beta hears the Horde, and 3 different conversations on dealing with loss. It's the kinda, sorta, but not really season finale of The Walking Dead. Season 10, Episode 15. The Tower. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review, our final review for an unknown length of time of The Walking Dead. So yes, of course, lots of spoilers coming your way, and as always, do want to remind you about our quick jump index system. Right in the description below, we'll have this entire review broken down, titleized, time-stamped. You can jump to the end of the review first, you can watch the beginning last. You can watch this review in any order you'd like. So yeah, let's just sort of jump right into things this week with our review. And like I said, the kinda, sorta, but not really season finale, because the actual season finale has been delayed, as mentioned last week, due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Apparently doing post, very difficult when no one can get close to each other. So that will be presented at some point in the future, probably this summer at some point, as soon as they were able to sort of sort through all of this, and we can all get back to work. But so at the moment, this basically serves as sort of the season finale, and I mean, we do leave on a cliffhanger of sorts, so it does sort of deliver that particular season finale feel, and yet not a whole lot else really going on in the sense of action and movement. It's a lot of conversation. It is kind of the typical episode before the finale. We've had the big wars, everybody's kind of sorting through that, and I'm hoping they're doing that so that the finale episode would be big and action and boom, boom, boom stuff happening and really edge of the seat. Let's see what's going on. So by its design, not a whole lot happening, but still a good solid episode, some good character work, some good movement going forward. It just wasn't like a episode, you know, which is fine. We got to have variety on that. We get to meet Princess, as Ezekiel, Eugene, and Miko try to head towards their big meeting. A new character that obviously is going to be with us for quite some time. And I think overall a fun introduction. This is someone new, it's someone different, definitely sealing the effects of somebody who's been alone for a year. And before we judge, a lot of us are freaking out just having a couple weeks, just not going outside. So I think maybe we could feel a little sympathetic towards Princess's predicament. Oh my God, people, please don't leave me. Then of course we have Beta still dealing with the loss of Alpha. It's sort of a descending brain functioning way. The guy's losing it. Let's be honest. And everybody else knows that he's losing it too. Might he be successful for a while? Sure. But the writing's on the wall. It's all falling apart for the Whisperers. And then finally, really, like I said, with the rest of our characters, we're dealing with loss. You know, again, we've had a big war. We've had a lot of losses, a lot of characters, a lot of arcs. So we're taking a moment and having several of our characters having our loss discussions, which, again, end up working very nice. They're good moments. I think we have some good character bits, maybe a little drag here and there, a few funny parts, unexpected funny parts, but really maybe overall, I think, like I said, a good solid episode, definitely something that was effective for dealing up with what is supposed to be the finale, but as something to sort of leave us for a little while, I found it mostly satisfying. So let's kick things off with Beta and his sort of mental decline. Not a whole lot going on really in these scenes. Obviously, it's leading the Horde into Alexandria, finding it empty, and now heading off to Oceanside, at least initially, believing that he is headed that way. But really what we are seeing with Beta in this is, like I said, his mental decline. He is losing it. The loss of Alpha really was his ground. And now he doesn't have that. What is substituting for it is the Horde. And I really liked how they kind of brought that all out. You know, initially he's hearing something, he's hearing voices. And internally I'm thinking, oh, he's hearing a version of Alpha. It doesn't sound like Alpha. It definitely sounds more Walker-ish, or, you know, the kind of whisper voice they use. So, I mean, originally that's sort of what I was thinking, is this is Beta kind of hearing Alpha's voice. But that ends up not being the fact that it ends up actually being the Horde. And they had their great shot of, while he's talking, you know, faith, believe. And one of the walkers next to him is like talking to him and then turns. You see the whole ripped face. This is definitely not a whisperer talking to him. It is the actual Horde that he's listening to. So, I mean, that's kind of cool to see that sort of decline. Unfortunately, the rest of the Whisperers are starting to see that decline as well. We already saw the one Whisperer making the mistake last week of calling Beta Alpha, and how that ended up with Alpha's head chewing him up. We have a repeat of that today, where one of the Whisperers, again, the Horde is behind you, Alpha. I mean, no, not Alpha. She's turning with the knife, and, you know, Beta's ready to kill him. So we are seeing that Beta's decline, even for those, you know, dedicated to the Whisperer way, have decided to leave. And of course, we find out later on that Judith and Daryl run into one of the scouts that basically just says, yeah, he's crazy. I love them. They're all my people, but I'm leaving. Starting their own little Whisper Horde. You just get just one Whisperer and like a few walkers. I mean, I guess you could sort of start things out that way. Doesn't end up well for the scout there. She bought it as only Daryl could deliver a final message. But again, just really showing the signs of Beta's decline. Though it doesn't apparently work anyway, and that was sort of the interesting thing that I will get on with the Alden and Aaron bit. Because I like the idea that they have stayed behind. I like them kind of up in the windmill, like watching and counting. You know, they're getting numbers. Okay, how much is the Horde? How big they are? You know, they're doing recon. And I guess they do have a plan that involves Beta heading out towards Oceanside. And that seems to be working well. Unfortunately, it seems that, well, see, this is where the guess is. Because either Aaron and Alden got a little sloppy, they got a little too close, and then, of course, they got caught and had to reveal where the tower was. Or that is also part of the plan. I mean, I don't know if Alden and Aaron necessarily getting caught is part of the plan. But we hear all about the tower. But there's one thing that we never actually see. Is where we see the inside, where our survivors are. We never see the outside. And in fact, the one time that we get sort of an idea of it is when Judith goes out to try and hack down some walkers, and Daryl runs into the door and says, well, you shouldn't be gone. And she's like, it smells like pee. I don't want to be up there. That all seems to imply that they're not that far, that it's very overgrown close to them. And yet when we see the hospital, where we believe the tower to be after Alden and Aaron has gotten caught, and we have faith, belief, and it's certainly not Oceanside where Beta is leading the walkers, this must be the tower. Is it a medical tower? Well, again, that's the question. We don't see a tower. We see 2 floors of the hospital. Is it the same hospital Beth died at? I don't think so. I'll have to think about it later. So we just see them going forth. But we never see anybody inside reacting. We never see, oh my God, they're coming. We do get the radio call that's broken up from Gabriel. Oh my God, shh, surrounded, shh, where are the shh? Which again seems to imply. But let's hold it in fact that the hospital may not be the tower. But the hospital may in fact be part of the plan. This is where the Horde is intended to be led to. And they're going to blow the hell out of it. Which could be why Luke needs all that wiring that sent Carol and Kelly out for a message. So, anyway, just guesses. But yes, by the end of it, it seems that Alden and Aaron's gotten caught. They had to reveal where the tower is. Beta and the Horde's coming in to wipe out the group. But we don't know if that's actually where the group is. So, kind of hold on that. But of course, as mentioned, Carol and Kelly head out to run an errand for Luke to get some needed supplies for the plan, would be my guess. And that is the first of the 3 big discussions on loss that we have. And like I said, an important discussion to have from character arc standpoint. The finale is next week. Do we want to have a big action-packed finale and then a whole lot of discussions afterwards? Or would we rather have the discussions now and then the action-packed stuff afterwards? I vote for B. So it is kind of important stuff to get out. And honestly, all of these scenes I think were really well done. Good acting, mostly good writing, good character interaction, important... Again, these were necessary steps that had to be taken for all of these particular characters, considering the arcs that we've had over the season. First off, with Kelly and Carol. Obviously, Carol feeling very bad about Connie. Kelly being the sister of Connie, so it's a very natural discussions to have out of there. And I have to say, Kelly is super cool about Connie's potential death. I mean, obviously a lot of that discussion is about that Kelly isn't holding Carol responsible for a couple of reasons. One, she understands that this was something that Carol felt had to do. Everybody being pushed, that people make choices. But also, of course, believing that Connie is still alive. That she is too tough to die. We have no evidence of her being dead. Obviously, Miko made it out of there, so even if they got separated, the likelihood of Connie still being alive is kind of high at that point. If they're all able to interact and, meld with the whispers and such like that. So that was cool. I just have to say is that Kelly was just really, really forgiving. Almost too much. And it became a great conversation about the superpowers and, now that before losing her losing her hearing was sort of a bad thing, but now everybody is signing. Everybody is learning sign, which is a good skill to know, by the way. I'm just going to throw that out there. American Sign Language. Good thing to pick up. Good skill to pick up. So that was kind of cool. The one comic moment that I had within that particular conversation, though, was when she was like, yeah, we heard stories about you, about Carol. Back in the day when you would just go off and do the thing that only you could do. And I'm watching this going, yeah, what happened to her? Because she's been gone all season. Where's badass Carol that takes out Terminus by herself? Miss her. So there was kind of just a comic moment, I think, with the, yeah, we heard stories about you, going off, but doing what you do, the lone wolf, which is kind of Carol's way. So, again, an important conversation about loss, and certainly Carol feeling better about it, and a good kind of bond between Kelly and Carol, kind of a nice dynamic. Then, of course, we had Lydia and Negan. Again, similar type of thing. Lydia, definitely not happy with Negan. What's the line that she gives? Yeah, well, secretly we wish you had died along with her. Nobody wants you back here, Negan. Though he is wandering around free and clear and cooking for everyone. So, I mean, definitely Daryl has said some good things to the group, which they accepted him in. Nice. But again, here just the dealing between Lydia and Negan and Alpha. Negan telling Lydia that he liked her. She did some bad things and had to be done, but he wished that he hadn't done it. How is a daughter supposed to hear that? Sorry I had to kill your mom, but I really liked her. And just his sort of straightforward ideas. I think you should hit me. I think you'll feel better about it. I think you need to get this out. And he's right. You hold this stuff in, it's going to come out some ways. And she wants to be with this group. Like Negan wants to be with the group. Why? Because they both see the potential that is here, that it is a better world than the ones that they were living in. And this is something worth fighting for and worth dying for. So again, a good connection there. Kind of straightforward as Lydia loses it and then does the beating and the pounding and then the hugging and the kind of eventual forgiveness. It's a standard kind of little emotional arc. But they didn't drag it out. They dealt with it. We had just the two of them sorting and discussing it. And I think that ended up working really well. It was a nice thing to sort of sort out between them if there's going to be any future to move forward. And then, of course, we have the Judith Daryl discussion. Judith, of course, feeling not only her own little arc of having to kill a Whisperer and then having to kill her friend, the guy, the blacksmith, whose name is currently forgiven. He's already dead, and I've already forgotten about him. Alden would be so disappointed. So having those arcs, plus now having the loss of Michonne, it's put Judith in kind of an interesting place. And Daryl taking her under the wing and bringing her out, it's a good thing. It's like a fatherly position, and we get some nice bonding there. I did find it interesting that it's only now that she bothers to say, by the way, I did talk to my mom, she's out. She's not coming back, at least for a while. Which kind of surprised me, though when she followed it up with, I didn't tell you because I was afraid you would leave too. That's a reasonable fear. I mean, for a kid, we've already lost one, her dad's gone, mom is now gone to go find dad, possibly. Daryl, her uncle, the other guy that's really connected, he's connected with Michonne. Of course, natural to think that he would take off to go after her, to go help find Rick. But of course, Daryl can't leave. He has a long-term contract. He can't after the episode. Anyway, I'm kidding. I mean, it's kind of true. But yeah, no, he's stepping into the leadership role. So, again, it was kind of just a good emotional. And again, I thought Judith did well in this. The little actress is having some great moments. It wasn't big. It wasn't crazy. It wasn't overly emotional. It was quiet and the tear. And just, you could feel that connection between her and Daryl. So, again, everybody's dealing with loss. Kelly's lost her sister. Maybe Carol possibly responsible. Lydia lost her mom. Negan definitely responsible for that, but it's something that had to happen. Judith now has lost her mom, maybe, for at least a while, and is concerned about losing anybody else, and wanting to do what Daryl is, wanting to start to learn the skills that are needed in order to protect the community. Was it that Daryl says you need this? There are people out there that will do everything for you, so that down the road in the future you will do anything for them. I've been training for leadership here. So again, emotional scenes, not big stuff, but I think handled really well and definitely necessary to finish these sort of season arcs that were set up. Well, I think it's now an appropriate time to talk about our Scene of the Week for this week. And that is our opening scene. Yes, I had it last week, also the opening scene. But it worked again this one. And again, I loved all of those little discussion moments. All of the dialogues, they were great. But come on, the introduction to Princess was just fun and funny. Just a different personality than we have run into. I like the breath of fresh air. And just her whole bit of wanting to help and them figuring out and then her not wondering if they're actually real or hallucinations. I mean, like I said, it was a perfect scene to introduce this new character. And again, and also maybe the fact that they talk about her as Princess. Who are you? I'm Princess. I mean, my real name is Juanita Gonzalez, but Queen I thought was too assumptive, which is, again, hilarious that she is the princess of the empty city, and she is talking to the king of the kingdom. Of course, Ezekiel doesn't reveal himself nicely. I think there was that moment where he's like, I'm Ezekiel. I thought that was kind of good. And of course, we set up our conflict with Miko not trusting Princess at all. You come after me, but again, even Princess's response, again, was great, and it's what made the scene. So, I wasn't threatening you. If I was threatening you, gun would be pointed this way. See, this is threatening. This is, hi, how you doing? And then he had going on with the whole thing of, like, hallucinations. Are you real? Which sort of makes sense for somebody that has been alone for a while. I mean, like I mentioned before, many of us are freaking out, being stuck in our apartments for a couple weeks. Well, I mean, house, apartment, place where you live. Some of us have people with. I've got a family that I'm with. Some people are all alone. But even that, with everyone, freaking people out. couple of weeks just in their apartment. You can still call people. You can watch TV. You can walk outside and see people. And already, people are getting a little batty. Imagine a year of no one but walkers in an empty city. Which, again, is also kind of an interesting thing that the whole city is empty. I guess the herds just gather all of the free walkers around for the most part. And then, of course, wrapping the scene up with the walkers coming up and Princess trying to be the cool, oh, I got it. The one thing you don't do, make a lot of noise, because these horses, they haven't been trained around gunfire, haven't had gunfire for a long time. Of course they're going to take off and run. And now we have our setup. Again, perfect for an episode. Great introduction, good character interaction, and then we have our problem. Horse is gone. Now you have to work with Princess if you're going to have any hope of making that meeting. So, good setup, good introduction. That's what good scenes are all about. And then, of course, the rest of their little adventure in town, kind of the same. Again, we get a little bit more on Princess's bit. I love the conversation about giving up her weapon. When Miko's like, look, if you're going to come with us, we need your weapon. I kind of like a weapon. I mean, I could give it to you. I mean, I guess I need it unless I was planning to kill you guys. But if it was, I could only kill one, maybe two of you. And then this guy would kill me. Pointing to Eugene. She's already planned out that it's Miko and Ezekiel that she would take out first. Which I love. She's got this little subtle plan going on. It's like, but this guy would take me out unless I've got a death wish. Which obviously, I mean, again, this is all great character bit. And I know for some it might be a little over the top, and I can understand that. But I gotta say, I just loved her. I loved her the whole thing. I loved last week when you saw the little art stuff that she made up, her discussion why. I loved Ezekiel earlier, again, commenting about that. And just the arc of someone who has been alone for some time and maybe makes mistakes because they don't want someone to leave. Yeah, not a plan to walk through a minefield. That was probably not very smart. Also, there was a lot of concrete. You're burying mines under the concrete. Again, the reality of that isn't important. It's a character establishment bit. And we do get a few bouncing, blowing up walkers in the scene, which are kind of nice. But yeah, at the end, and I think it's kind of appropriate that it was Eugene that ultimately made that connection. When they find out that she's been lying, and yeah, she took them for an extra long loop, but why? Because we were having fun, and I haven't seen anybody for a year. I just didn't want you to leave, and maybe you'd stay if we were having a good time. I mean, yeah, it makes sense for someone who's sort of losing it because they've been alone for a long time. But who the hell else can identify with that more than Eugene? Who has lied to people, was leading them to Washington, D.C., saying that he knew all about the cure and he was the special super scientist and all that. I mean, people followed him. People got killed because of his lie. At least nobody died because of princesses. And, of course, Eugene has also been dealing with his own loneliness. And, in fact, even heading off to Stephanie here has been part of a response to that loneliness. So I really like that it was Eugene that could end up connecting with her. And then, of course, we get to our wheels, which aren't cars, as we might expect, but bicycles. But let's be honest, probably a little more effective. I mean, this is, again, 10 years post-apocalypse at this point. I don't know if there'd be any gas left. If it hasn't been used, it's, gas separates if it sits for too long. I don't know if you have to stir it to keep it, together, but I mean, you're going to have degradings of connectors, of rubber gaskets and all sorts of things like that, the oils, so an actual working vehicle may be more difficult to come across. Bicycle, man, human powered. You can get some good speed off of it. Sure, you'd have to maintain chains and things like that, but beside the point. They've got a new option, so it does work. And I like that Miko eventually, is like, hey, why don't you join us? Yeah, that personality is something we're going to have to work on if you would like to join us. So very sweet. I like that Miko kind of came around. I'm not going to say whether or not she might have think that Princess is a little cute and she did just break up with her girlfriend. I don't know if that's playing into it. But it's a nice larger group, and I can't wait to see where they're going to go from here. All right, just a couple small things here. One, more references to how much things were better back in the day. Daryl talking on the radio to what he thinks is Michonne, hoping to be Michonne, reaching out, but he was talking about, yeah, you know, out here and doing this, it reminds me of the old gang that seems to have been ages ago. Stop it! That's what you've been doing all season, at least the past few episodes. You keep hitting back on back points and where the show has come from and where everybody has been. Stop dwelling on the past, move to the future. Otherwise, all of us are going to be like, yeah, man, why are we watching this? Just go throw on some reruns of the old show when shit was good. Things were better this season than they have. There's been some dark points. I mostly like this season, but still. Stop with you're overdoing the nostalgia hits, man. Somebody watched The Rise of Skywalker too much, I think. Oh, Juanita Sanchez is Princess's actual name. I think I missaid it earlier. Anyway, just to be clear. Not that she uses it. Again, she prefers Princess. It fits her better, I think. Okay, obviously we don't know what the plan is, outside of the fact that they have one, that the survivors have one, in order to try and deal with Beta and the Horde. I am thinking that the lead to the hospital was intentional. However, I do like the fact that while Beta was leading the Horde, you know, it was look for signs, things, movement, people, you know, the Horde's talking to him, that we do see like the broken branches and things like that, that it looks like people have gone through. So if the idea was to create a false path that then the Horde would be able to follow, kudos on the survivors, man. Good job. Oh, and if that was only partial in then getting Alden and Aaron captured so that they could lead them back. Also good job, but I just don't believe they'd be sacrificing people. I think that might have been a hitch somewhere there. And our fan question this week comes from Kevin Waters, who remarks that Alpha referred to Daryl as Carol's boyfriend when the ghost of Alpha was talking with Carol. Because this is all in Carol's head, does that mean that Carol thinks that Daryl is her boyfriend or wants him to be her boyfriend? Excellent question. Personally, yeah, I think so. We've had that kind of hit on both ends, both Carol being referred to as Daryl's girlfriend and Daryl referred to as Carol's boyfriend. Thinking of a couple different times, I think, through that episode. So yes, I think that is what it's implying. Whether or not that relationship will actually come out, I'm not sure. They may want to play more with the will they, won't they. It's more fun to have them on the edge, but not actually commit. A lot of series don't know what to do with couples once they actually get together. And their dynamic has really been set very strongly. So yes, I think internally both of them see each other that way or want to be. I just don't think that publicly they're in a position to admit that, even to themselves, really. Maybe that's something that next season that we're going to dive into a little bit more. I think that would be nice. I'd love seeing their dynamic. So, yeah. Short answer, yes. I do think that that's how they sort of see their relationship. They just don't consciously want to admit it. For whatever reason, maybe it's a fear of loss. That if we have someone else, and that's someone else we can lose, and therefore they're just this strong relationship thing. Like I said, I like the dynamic between the two of them. So, we'll see where that goes. But since this is the finale, and we've had so many great fan questions, I do want to take a moment to just say thank you to everybody who's watched, who has commented. Specifically, I can only talk to people that have made comments, so I'm just going to call out a few names here. Alex H. Alex, man, you are awesome. Big time Walking Dead fan. Always love to hear your thoughts and opinions on stuff, so really appreciate you watching. Dog Miyagi, man, made some great comments this season. Love hearing from you. Kevin Waters obviously just had this question. Live Apes Rule we've discussed. Don Willie, A Dawn of Ice and Fire. Great, man, great channel. You should check that out. If you are a big Game of Thrones fan, check out A Dawn of Ice and Fire. Pelican Mike, Cinny, a Canadian comedian, a comical comedian, sorry, comical Canadian. I'm going to get that right. Thank you so much for watching. Mary Rains, of course, who has given a lot of great information here, especially on the background of Beta. And T52 Mama. Love hearing from you, even though you don't watch the show that much. I appreciate you still watch the reviews. So, and to everybody else that I did not mention, thank you so much for watching the reviews, for sharing, for liking, for all of your comments. It really makes it so much more fun to talk about this show every week. All right then, so we are going to head and wrap things up. Now, next week, there's nothing, because like I said, this is effectively the season finale. This is our cliffhanger that we're left at. And at some point in the next couple of months, definitely before the next season starts, we will get our final episode. So pay attention to AMC. If I hear anything, I'll blast stuff out on my YouTube and Twitter account as well, just as reminders. So, not really the finale, but it gives us a good cliffhanger, and I think we should have a fun one-off episode at some point later on this summer. But for now, that is it for us. Thank you again for joining me with these reviews. Really do appreciate everybody watching, subscribing, sharing, doing all that stuff. So if you like this one, you can do the same thing. Hit that like button. Throw your comments down in the discussion below. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode, the season overall, and what you were hoping to see in our one-off season half finale thing, whatever they're going to end up calling it, one-off later on this summer. Please go ahead, let me know what you guys are thinking right in the comment section below. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. Please subscribe. I know we're sort of done with Walking Dead for now, but we do have Westworld review coming up later this night. Several more episodes in that season as well. We're not even halfway through yet. And then this summer, we do have the final season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I cannot wait for. If you're a subscriber, you won't miss any of those reviews. Do that by clicking this button right here. And we'll throw up a couple of our latest reviews right here for you to check out. So, that's going to be it for me. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Stay safe and clean. Bye-bye.